This man is Chinese. He's not Japanese, and everywhere he goes, he pretends to be Japanese.
全场只有我一个讲中文，我大声说话，他们肯定会说：“哎呀，中国人好没素质，他们老双标了，他们说话可以大声，说别的不可以。”所以，我如果大声说话，我只会讲“巴格亚路”。我的吃相好像不太好，yes。I'm from Japan。
前辈。
こんにちは。
こんにちは。
没办法，吃相不是很好，不想丢人。我是中国人，但刚刚吃的太丢人了。
Why? Well, it's the easiest target to blame. Decades in China of anti-Japan sentiment, propaganda, deliberately trying to make Japanese people look bad, and obviously, it's part of the going viral online. That's why he used that as the excuse. Well, obviously, it's not going to work, and because Japanese people simply are some of the most polite people out there and well-mannered people out there. They're not only doing it to Japanese people. In this video, an older lady is caught stealing vegetable from the farm, and she makes the excuse that she will pay just as if she bought it from the market. And when asked where she's from or where her hometown is, she says Shandong province, even though she has a thick northeastern province accent.
你这种的菜，你经过人家了没有？
就是说那个给你钱，就是杀人不过头点地，给你钱，这样买的呗。怎么的？
你们老家在哪里的？
我们老家那个山东。
你们山东的到处都是，你把人家的菜放下来。
放下来，给你放下来。
你们山东人就是到处都是野生的。
So yeah, they literally lie about everything. Now, meanwhile, this is also China.
位置，你有没有礼貌啊？
这差不多哪个是你的？说吧。真是的。
有问题吧你？脑子有问题。这人有没有礼貌啊？让人让座位让态度吗？
我让你让座了吗？
对啊，
我让你让。
不要让我
你
挤啊！
一个人占3个座，坐你自己的位置。什么大哥，你的座在这儿呢，你要坐这儿，没人拦着你。
你什么态度呀？你要什么态度你？
说什么
你？
Now, people always accuse me online of being racist to Chinese people because I call out these problems. I mean, just look at Taiwan versus China. How come people in Taiwan, same ancestral lineage, right? Yet totally different reputations around the world. And I wonder what is the reason for that? The CCP destroyed the people's morals, obviously, but also you have to wonder it must not be the only reason, right? Well, it turns out when you destroy the main restriction of people doing bad things, aka moral teachings and virtues, yeah, it goes that bad. Free ketchup, condiments.
太夸张了。
Free firework boxes. Hey guys, at least wait until it finishes popping off the fireworks. The CCP loves to project this idea on the surface, or this frontal image. Look of China that's like essentially beautiful, well-mannered, respectful, high-trust society, right? Full of LED lights. But that is far from the truth. They're the ones who actually destroy the culture that once was China and the culture that once restricted people from doing bad things. Look at something as simple as, say, trash on the floor.
我发现有些中国人的素质真的太差了，饭盒就随便丢在原地，还有很多人录音结束来记录带走。保护环境人人有责，这么简单的事情，怎么还有人不知道呀？
These kids are touring an aquarium, and they simply threw and discarded trash on the floor. And according to the people that filmed this video, yeah, it was made by this group of kids. I'm not saying every kid in China is not taught to, throw it in the trash, but let me give you the examples. This is not a single off behavior. This is something widespread. They grow up not knowing the need that obviously you need to throw trash into the can, but also that littering isn't good. Like, this is not part of the teaching for childhood education. So I thought today, let's talk about this distinction. China on the surface versus China in reality. Now, recently, Unitree, a Chinese robotics company, is being praised as the next big thing coming out of China. Their dancing robots made it onto the New Year's Gala event. Wow, China is so ahead. The robots can dance now. What's next? The robots can start taking over? Well, we may not be too far from that given the rapid developments of AI, but the point is, yes, they sure can dance, well, until they can't.
6点。我想拍那个机器人正面，他不过来。有！
咱看这机器人，这个机器人跳舞一撅上我这小伙年踢那的，机器人踢倒。
我长这么大没见过这么嚣张的人。哎，今天你就见到了。
Now, it's pretty funny. Feel bad for the guy who got injured, but here it's a typical way that China tries to, how its propaganda system works. They essentially use one thing to show you that, hey, look, we're really good at robots dancing, to generalize and to cover for all the other aspects that's not doing so well. Say, dancing robots versus the economy, the declining population, aging population. People are not spending money. Sales are down. Exports are going bad. So that's why when you look at the English propaganda of the CCP, it's quite funny in the sense that, like, they overrepresent certain things. Now, obviously, the reality is that in China, no matter how good the robots get, these core issues I just mentioned, those are actually caused by the CCP themselves. They will never go away. Now, I went onto Chinese TikTok, which is Douyin, to find many people in China complaining about the lack of manners and respect from Chinese people, whether that's overseas or inside China.
我发现华人真的是不管走到哪儿都招人讨厌啊！我这2天不是来马来西亚度假了吗？昨天呢，我们就在一个相当于咱们国内5A 景区的这么一个地方啊，它那个景区里面呢有活的那样的小型鳄鱼，啊，就是可以拿在手上拍照的。然后呢，我们一堆人在那边排队，眼看就马上排到我们了。有一个老女人就过来，领着孩子，使劲就往我前面塞，让她儿子先拍。我一听她这口音啊，好家伙，那娘家来人了呀！我说滚后面排队去，你眼瞎了吗？看不着这么多人在排队吗？
就这个人啊，他带他闺女。我跟你们说一个，为什么中国人在外边不受别人待见啊？就身为中国人，我也真觉得很丢人。你看见那个球了吗？就是这个篮球啊，水里玩的都是公用的。你看，大家谁玩都在这个水里边直接玩就行了。这个家长呢，就是他闺女要玩，把这个独占了，拿到他的座位上，他不玩啊，他一直在这上面，别人也不好再去拿，他就是不占这点便宜，他就觉得吃亏。
And I found this comment on one of the videos. It says, which I think actually is a perfect answer you could give to when you hear from the CCP shells saying that you're being racist, right? Here's the comment. It says, people won't discriminate against you because you're Chinese, but they will discriminate against all Chinese people because of you. Well, yeah, here's a tour bus driver who, in the UK, was filming the aftermath of a tour group from China. He says he won't name which province they come from. There's some guesses, again, might not be reasonable to assume, but still, look at the hard evidence here. Trash, tissues on the floor, crackers in the seat, takeout bags from fast food places, they just leave it behind. Just because they're rich enough to have a vacation in the UK or rich enough to visit other countries doesn't mean that they have suddenly gained the morals and the respect that once they had, right? This is decades of destruction. So you're not going to expect people just because they gain money that they're somehow better now. Now, if it really wasn't a problem, why in China is it so desperate for them to paint itself, like the country itself, as more civilized? Or why doesn't Japan or Korea or other countries need to do that? Right? The very aspect that, or maybe even Taiwan, the very fact that China needs to do it is already something that's suspicious.
雇了中国人，你看这玩意儿就跟纸壳似的，搁手都拧坏了。我哪有好玩意儿？你说是啊？还国产？你这是，这跟纸皮似的，瞧着。
And before we continue, I just want to quickly mention the Escape the Great Firewall initiative. I was approached by a group of engineers in the United States to help with spreading the awareness of this project. So basically, they generate 100 links for people in China, tens of thousands of people, to access the internet without the censorship firewall. And so by doing so, it actually is very easy for them. All they have to do is click that link and then they're through. So they can freely post, engage, and talk or learn from the outside world that's not part of the Chinese firewall of censorship. Now obviously it takes a lot of money to run this program. For every $2,000 they can generate 100 links, and those 100 links will last for 30 days, and they provide, like I said, access to tens of thousands of people. Now, as I've learned, in China, the percentage of people who actually use a VPN, which by itself carries risks, is less than 1% of the total population. Still a lot of people, but the vast majority of people don't really have a good, consistent way to get free information. Now, I think it's super important to be part of this initiative for one major reason. It's because that way they can personally tell you stories of what's happening in China. News that happens in China that gets censored can actually get to the outside world. And obviously the most important part is for Chinese people to learn about what's being propagandized, what's being censored, and what is essentially the truth. And that's the best way to defeat the CCP. So if you want to join in on this initiative, please help to donate by clicking the link in the description. And for your contribution, it will greatly support a cause that I'm super behind, and I think you're also as well, as this is a direct impact action for people in China to hear the truth. So thanks again, and we'll get back to the video.
那块那个垃圾让他们给扔的，就真的是看不下去，就是哎呀，我就这种人就应该断子绝孙。
So I'm not saying that it's me making all these things up, but I am saying that I'm simply taking what's already there and showing it to you. And this is a compilation of people taking their number 2 in public in Korea. So a viewer commented that apparently this whole public defecation situation is so bad in Korea, and there's people that literally like protest Chinese tourists because of that. And here at a sports event, Chinese characters, loud and clear on the banner, says, "Please be quiet." Yeah, I wonder why you're at a foreign sporting event and they specifically write Chinese on there. Getting caught stealing from hand luggages on an airplane heading to Dubai. Inside China, people are so obsessed with making money at all costs. This is a video of a noodle factory. Yeah, of course, the noodles, they get all their flavors from the contact with the ground. Here's a man washing his vegetables that he will be selling at the local market in this sewagey, bluey, river-looking stream thing. And this video here, this man bought an air fryer. For a while, he simply played with a dial for temperature control. But when it broke, he opened it and he realized that he didn't really need to do that.
片的时候，我都小心翼翼地拧到160度到180度之间，光怕烤糊了。结果他妈的没接线，这是看到没有？这没接线，你就是个玩具。
Also, you really can't trust anything coming from China because, yeah, let me just show you that.
Client from Africa. He named the chocolate. He ordered 20 unit MG4 from me. This is your contract.
Oh, MG4, good.
This is my Africa customer, David. He has ordered 10 containers butter hair masks from us.
Yes, those are Chinese people pretending to be black people from Africa. And thank you so much for watching this episode. Again, if you're watching on China Insider, please go and subscribe to our new channels as we'll continue to post new content more and more, or I guess less and less on China Insider. And as we move to the new channels, all the new fresh contents will be on there as well. So again, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time.